of Sim Racers Asia Season 7. Today we are at Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And right now, Ataya Kenzie, who is the championship leader, he's the only man in the 1 minute 21s. Behind him, Shaq is only about 4 tenths behind, so it's a really, really small gap between the top two right now, but it's an even smaller gap between the second, third, and fourth place. They're all separated by less than a tenth, even down to fifth place actually. So it's really interesting to see how qualifying will go. Right now, we have about 2 minutes and 20 seconds before practice session ends for these drivers. And right now, Atakansi looks like he's in a really, really good spot for his championship. He does lead by about 2.5 points ahead of Chua Sing Han. Sing Han, who scored really consistently in the previous round, has been able to put himself up into second in the drivers' championship standings, ahead of Xavier, who's about 7.5 points behind the championship leader. Xavier didn't really have quite a good race in the previous round because he had a penalty that he had to serve, and he spun around a few times in the race. So he's looking to bounce back in Brazil today. So it's really interesting to see where he's gonna end up in round 5. As we have our cameras on Ilham Karim Shak right now, who's second in practice so far, currently carrying pretty good pace for the Gamasala racing team. So he's only 4 tenths behind Ataya Kenzie. Right now we're on board with Rian Adi Saputra, he spun it around at turn 3, and that's his lap over there. He's even hit the barrier as well, so I think he's gonna have to go back to the pits right now. But it looks like he just lost the backhand there at the exit of turn 3 onto the Reto Aposta straight. So obviously that wasn't a very, very good lap for him. I think he's currently 7th in the timing sheets right now. So, qualifying is about to end in about a minute. So these drivers do have not a lot of time, but by the looks of it, they've already been practicing for a few hours, so they should be able to, consistently drive good laps in qualifying in order to qualify quite high up there. Xavier lets one of the cars through. Right on board with him now. He's on his out lap, even though I don't think he's going to be able to complete another lap. Right now, he stands third with a 1 minute 22.0. Just about 4 tenths behind the current, not really pole sitter, but the current fastest in practice so far. Practice is ending right now, so qualifying will begin in about a minute's time. I'm gonna let the drivers complete their laps first. But by the looks of it, Ataya Kenzie has pretty good pace. So that means if qualifying goes well for him, he's going to be able to score quite a lot of points if he can qualify where he is right now. But of course, for the second race, there's going to be a reversed grid. So if he does get a good result in race 1, he's going to have to start at the back of the grid and see what kind of results he can pull from there. And in the previous round, in the second race, he had a little bit of a collision. That's the thing when you start at the back of the grid, because when you start at the back of the grid, the fast guys are usually at the back. So you have to face a lot more traffic. Sometimes you face traffic that you don't want to face, and you have to deal with a lot of incidents that you don't want to face. So that was the case for Ataya Kenzie in the second race last round. So he did lose quite a bit of points, and that allowed Chua Sing Han to basically take command of the race and close up the gap in championship standings. So practice is currently over. I think we're just waiting for the last few cars to cross the line. Oh, as we see Javier spinning off and hitting the barrier there. But that does mean it's the end of practice anyway. So qualifying is about to begin, as you can see. It's going to start in about in just under a minute. So we'll be able to see which drivers will come out on top, which drivers will be the fastest in qualifying, start from the grid. So far, like I said, Ataya Kenzie is the only one that has been able to break the 1 minute 21 barrier. So he's the only man with a 1 minute 21 right now. if I'm not mistaken, in practice he did do 1 minute 21.2. So that means low 1 minute 21 is on the card. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's going to be able to do that in qualifying today. Xavier, right now, his time of 1 minute 22.0 does look like it's his personal best so far. We got to remember Chua Sing Han is really close behind, and if Xavier can't set a good lap in qualifying, Chua Sing Han's going to take immediate advantage of that. As qualifying currently begins, the drivers have 10 minutes to set as many hot laps as they can and try and see where they'll start on the grid for the first race. So right now we've got the cameras on Hamsterville leaving the pits, first one out on track. Sometimes you do want to be the first one out on track, sometimes you don't, because if you're the first one out on track, you get the track with the least amount of grip, but at the same time you get clear air. So on a track like this, you don't really care that much about slipstream because you're going to lose a lot of time in the technical sections due to the dirty air. So Hamsterville, since he's the first one out on track, does look like he has a little bit of an advantage here. So it'll be interesting to see where he's going to line up. So as the drivers do their hot laps, their out laps right now. Let me just take a look on the live timing right now to see who's out on track. But the looks of it, all but all but one car is out on track right now. Mark Lange is the only one that's still in his box, and he's just left his pit box right now. So Hamsterville, first one to start his hot lap. Behind him is Bob Combat. Then behind him is Irfan Adi Pratama as well. So it'll be interesting to see where these drivers will be able to qualify. Hamsterville, of course, will be the first one to set his lap times in the orange car right now. Going down the Retro Aposta straight into turn 4. Heavy braking zone. Looks like brakes at about a 50-meter zone going into the Interlagos here. Looks like it's a pretty good start to the lap so far. Doesn't look like there's any off-roading or anything, so that's a good thing. But it is really interesting to see these drivers drive around this track. It is a really, really historic track. It is a really, really historic track. A lot of drivers have claimed in Formula 1 have claimed their championships at this track. Like, for example, Sebastian Vettel in 2012 claiming his 3rd world championship, as well as the most memorable championship win at this track in 2008 when Lewis Hamilton overtook Timo Glock at this very corner on the very final lap of the race. Oh, there's a car stopped on track there. I wonder who that is. Hopefully that wasn't too much of a nuisance to the other drivers, but Hamsterville right now, as he's running onto the line, it'll be interesting to see what lap time he is going to be able to set. He turns on DRS, crosses the timing line right now. Where does that put him? 1 minute 24.6. So it doesn't look like it's the fastest. In fact, Irfan Adi Pratama has immediately beat his time with the 1 minute 22.2. And just behind him is Muhammad Faiz Ryan with the 1 minute 22.4. But it looks like everybody's beating. Everybody's going faster and faster and faster. And Ataya Kenzie immediately breaking into the 1 minute 21 barrier with the 1 minute 21.6. Really, really interesting, scintillating lap there from Ataya Kenzie. And just like he's shown in practice, he does have really, really strong pace, and he's immediately translated that into qualifying, because it looks like right now he's the man to beat. He's got about 6 tenths gap to the car behind, which is Chua Sing Han. Sing Han, who is also his championship rival, only two and a half points behind him. So Ataya Kenzie's goal is going to have to be to beat Chua Sing Han in the race. And Sing Han's target will obviously be trying to beat Ataya Kenzie, because it's such a small margin between both of them. It's only 2.5 points. So whoever can get track position is going to be able to outscore the other here today. But it's interesting to see Xavier, who's 3rd in the standings right now. It doesn't look like he's set a time, actually. So I don't know if he's out on track yet. Hamsterville now crossing the line. I think he's on the outlet, because I don't think he renewed his fastest time yet. According to the timing sheets right now, I don't see Xavier's lap time But on the site, it does show that Javier has managed to set a 1 minute 22.0. But it might have been invalidated because for some reason it's not appearing on the timing sheets as Ilha Mukarim Shak has managed to get up into provisional P2 with a 1 minute 22.2. So he is ahead of Chua Sing Han. Sing Han in a position where he doesn't want to be because he wants to be as close as possible to Ataya Kenzie so that he can close up the gap in the championship standings. So Javier right now looking at the timing, live timing, it looks like he's about to cross the line right now. What's his lap time going to be? I think he's just started his out lap. So as Joshua just crosses the line with a 123.3, that puts him 9th in the current standings. He's just behind Adi Pratama and just ahead of Noah Sidak, only a 10th separating him. Sorry, no, he's just ahead of Joshua 10, and he's about 4 tenths ahead of Joshua, so. Muhammad Faiz Ryan has managed to set a 1 minute 22.1 to go up into provisional P2. That's a really quick lap from him. That means Chua Sing Han is now bumped down to 4th place. So he's gonna be starting on the 2nd row if things stay like this, and that's pretty much not what he wants because he wants to get as close as possible to Ataya Kenzie. But right now, by the looks of it, Ataya Kenzie is in a league of his own. He's like really far ahead in 1st place right now. He's the only man, like I said, to reach the 1 minute 21 barrier. And by the looks of it, nobody else is able to challenge him. He's got about half a second gap to the cars behind. Especially Sing Han. Sing Han, if he wants to be able to qualify or even beat Ataya Kenzie, he's got to find about 6 tenths, and that's not easy. But as you see, the man who's third in the championship right now, Javier, hasn't been able to set a valid lap time yet. So that might actually be what separates him and the front row, because there's only 2.5 minutes left in qualifying. If he doesn't get the move on, he's not going to be able to set another lap time. Sing Han right now crosses the line, the 1 minute 22.1. He does improve on his previous best. That puts him up 3rd in the 2nd row of the grid. So he does gain 1 position from it, but again, there's 1 car separating him and the championship leader as Mohammed. Shaq has managed to beat Chua Sing Han's time by only about 200ths of a second. So that puts Chua Sing Han back down to 4th place. So just as he worked hard to get up into 3rd place, all his work is just cut out and he's back down to 4th place. So there's 2 cars separating him and the championship leader right now as Joshua Tan crosses the line with the 1 minute 23.2. I don't think he improves on his previous best. So that puts him in 9th on the timing sheets right now as we ride on board with Chua Sing Han heading into Pico de Pato. Touches a little bit of the grass there, loses a bit of balance, but he does manage to keep it here. Chua Sing Han is right now actually in 4th, even though on the graphics here it says he's in 5th. I'm not sure if he's on an out lap or a hot lap right now, but I guess we'll be able to tell as soon as he crosses the line. But if it was a hot lap, it would be a little bit compromised because as we saw, he touched the grass a little bit for the Pato there. But as he approaches the line right now, it'll be interesting to see where does his timing put him into. He goes another man into the 1 minute 21. That's an amazing lap from Chua Sing Han, putting him only 3 tenths behind Ataya Kenzie. So now he's back on the pace. He's exactly where he wants to be, right behind Ataya Kenzie, meaning he can challenge Kenzie as soon as the race starts. We've got less than a minute until qualifying begins, and I don't see Javier's times yet on the timing sheets in the top left right there. As you can see, your professional pole sitter is Ataya Kenzie, and 3 tenths behind him is Chua Sing Han. Behind them is Fenor Rehan in 3rd place. Then we have Muhammad Faiz Ryan ahead of Ilham Mukarim Shak. in 5th. So that's the top 5, and I don't see Javier's name on the timing sheet yet. So he's third in the championship. He's only 7.5 points behind. So he's not too far off. He can still challenge Ataya Kenzie for the championship and even challenge Chua Sing Han for 2nd place in the championship. But by the looks of it, it doesn't seem like he's able to set a good lap time yet. On the live timing side, it says that Javier is 3rd place with a 1 minute 22.0. But on the stream here, it doesn't look like his times have showed up. So I don't know if it's just an error in the stream or if it's just his laps were invalid. But if what I'm seeing is true and his laps are invalid, then he's gonna maybe start at the back of the grid. So not many cars are on track right now. There are only about 6 cars out on track. But right now we see Javier still not able to set a time yet. He has set a time of 1 minute 22.0, but I'm not sure if that time is actually valid. We'll have to wait and see, as Tariq Badjuber right now goes through the 2nd straight to the Skid del Lago. Currently 23rd. Doesn't look like he's set a time. Maybe he entered the race late. But it looks like he's gonna have to start at the back of the grid, as we see Noah stopping at the main straight. Maybe he run out of fuel. Looks like it because he's in 4th gear. And qualifying is over, so your top 3 is it changed and I wasn't able to see, but by the looks of it, I think Javier's time was actually counted, but it just wasn't popping up on the stream. So if I read the current timing sheets, it's Ataya Kenzie in 1st place, Chua Sing Han in 2nd place, Javier Lai in 3rd place, Fenor Rehan in 4th, Muhammad Faiz Ryan in 5th, Ilham Mukarim Shak in 6th, Muhammad Andri Abireski in 7th, Christian Ho for the Sauber Junior team in 8th place, Irvan Adi Pratama in 9th place, and Bob Combat rounds off your top 10. So the race is about to start really, really soon. It'll be interesting to see which of these drivers will be able to come out on top. As we see, the top 3 right now are actually the top 3 in the championship standings. Ataya Kenzie and Chua Sing Han being the only ones that have managed to do a 1 minute 21. So if you look at the championship standings, Ataya Kenzie is only ahead of Chua Sing Han by about 2.5 points, while Javier is behind Ataya Kenzie by about 7.5. So it'll be interesting to see which of these drivers will be able to come out on top, have a more consistent race, race 1 and race 2, to be able to get the upper hand in the championship. There's a little bit of a waiting time between before the start of a race.
Yeah, Mika, I was just figuring what a brilliant track this is for a Formula 3 race. You know, in fact, I would imagine that a place like this, Interlagos, it is built with Formula racing in mind, with close racing in mind. Of course, if you were to split this track into 3 sectors, sectors 1, 2, and 3, you would find that sector 2, a slow speed section, is kind of sandwiched by 2 high speed sections that kind of complement one another.
As 6 lights are ahead of us right now. It's lights on, away we go, and it looks like there's a few cars making up places in the midfield here right now. As we ride on board with Joshua Tan in 12th place, looking to make some overtakes down into turn 1 as we head into the center. As there's a little bit of contact, some cars are off the track. It looks like there's a massive collision here into the first few corners, and it doesn't look like it's a good start to the race, as there's more contact here at the back, as we see Marv getting a little bit of hit at the side of his car there right now. But it looks like Javier has actually managed to climb up into 2nd place. Chua Sing Han has actually lost quite a lot of places at the start of the race, dropping down to 8th place here right now. As Marv is facing an attack from Garden Court here. Really good overtake there for P10. As Javier right now only 0.3 seconds behind Ataya Kenzie, so he's going to be pressuring Ataya for the rest of the race here right now. But it looks like Chua Sing Han has actually lost quite a bit of places at the start there.
Yes, it would appear so. The order has in fact been shuffled by quite a lot. Kenzie leads the race with Lai and Fendre Han in 2nd and 3rd. We do observe Andrea Abikeski. I'm so sorry if I butchered your name there. He is fighting against Faiz and Hope behind.
There's actually Christian Ho here right now racing for the Sauber Junior team. Looks like he touched a little bit of a curb there on the outside, so he's actually lost another position to Chua Xinghan. Xinghan, who obviously had a bad start to the race, right now finds himself in P7. There's quite a lot of work to do. He's got quite a bit of gap between him and the car ahead, which is Faiz Ryan. As we see Faiz Ryan facing an attack from Andrea Bereski here right now going into turn 1. And it looks like Andrea Bereski has managed to move himself up into P5. He's right on board now with Javier Lai. Following behind Ataya Kenzie, as it looks like Irfan Adi Pratama is actually serving a drive-through penalty here.
Yeah, not exactly the start that everyone would have wanted, but at this point the field is already beginning to calm down just a little bit and drivers are on their way to proceeding with a good race. Pratama exits the pits and we are back with Kenzie, the race leader.
Kenzie right now having a really healthy lead, 1.4 seconds ahead of Javier in second place, but Javier is actually closer to the car behind him, which is Fenrehan. Just a 0.3 second gap. As we see, Rian Adisaputra here has actually gone off the track, losing quite a lot of places here. That puts him down into P22. And well, now Ivan Adi Pratama has managed to overtake him for P22. So that little mistake has costed him quite a few places and put him right at the back of the grid. As you see, Henry Ko right now struggling quite a lot. He might have damage, as we see he's gone off the track a little bit there. It doesn't look like his car is handling that well either, but it does look like Ataya is actually building the gap to Xavier right now, making sure that Xavier is out of the DRS zone. And Xavier is gonna need to build the gap to the car behind in order to not let the car behind get DRS. But you see Noah here, even just as he overtook one of the cars there, he's actually gone off the track himself. So that means he's right at the back of the grid.
Yeah, unfortunately, so he has been pushed to the other end of the grid. Javier Lai in second. He has a lot of pressure from Van Drehan. Oh, he gets hit! Out! Into the wall would go Javier. This is in turn 1 and this is an unprecedented move and this is going to do a lot of damage to Javier's pace as he's now down to P8.
Yes, it does look like his car took a huge hit on the rear end there, so that's gonna compromise a lot of rear end grip for him. And like I said, he's in the fight for the championship, but that huge incident into turn 3 there, the end of the Retro Aposta straight, will definitely not help his cause whatsoever, because right now that puts him down into P8, which promotes Chua Xinghan up into P5 as we ride on board with him right now. He's really close, about 0.4 seconds behind Muhammad Andri Abireski, as he will have DRS and slipstream going onto the main straight right now as we ride on board with Garden Coke in P9. Just behind Javier Lai, but it looks like he's under more pressure from Mark Lange right behind him. But Javier right now, he was in a really strong position up into P2, but that incident with I don't know who that incident was with, but that incident at in the braking zone of turn 3 has definitely ruined his afternoon.
It sure as you wouldn't exactly want to be in his position, and now it's all a matter of trying to clamber up all the lost positions. Benjamin Teng in 16th. We ride on board him as he comes along the start-finish line. This is a very high-speed section and we come upon the braking zone. Garden Cock over here, he is behind Javier Lai and behind him is Lang.
Oh, it looks like Mark has actually lost it because when he opened the DRS to try and get the run on Garden Cook here, he's obviously when you open up the DRS, you lose quite a lot of rear end grip, and when he tried to pull out of the safely, I think he was a little bit too aggressive with it, and that put him into the wall. So all of his hard work to get close to Garden Cook has been rubbed off.
Yeah, it would appear so. He has kind of increased his gap to Cock by an additional second, so some ground that he has to cover. They now enter this section. This is the second sector. A lot of overtaking can happen at this point. Tank sandwiched between Dondoka and the driver in P18.
As you ride on board with Christian Ho right now in 6th place, he's just ahead of Muhammad Faiz Ryan. Muhammad Faiz Ryan looks like he's got the run on him right now. As we see the cars ahead, Chua Xinghan attacking Muhammad Andri Abireski. Chua Xinghan moves up into P4 as we go into turn 1. Heavy braking zone here right now, and it looks like Chua Xinghan has managed to make the move stick. He's up into P4. So that he's making up a lot of ground that he lost at the start of the race. But as you see track right now, under some effort from Van Rehan here, is Van Rehan able to make the move down into turn 3? Oh, there's a car spinning off here. Andri Abireski into the barrier on the Retro Aposta straight. So that puts him well down the order here right now. I would like to see what happened there. But it looks like it was maybe contact with another car, or maybe the same as Mark Lange opening up the DRS and just being a bit too careless about it as he spins right on the apex of the curb as well.
Yeah, look, the curbs here at Interlagos is not exactly the friendliest with a low clearance car like that. If you go mount it and you kind of lose control of your car. Hung in 12th. Yeah, he is behind car in P11, of course, not exactly close enough for any overtaking moves. So cars are relatively closely packed at this part of the field, the second half of the field, as opposed to the top half of the field where gaps are generally a little bit wider at this point. Joshua Tan in 16th, he is going for a move against Kevin Tan, who is in 15th. A reasonable three-way battle pack. I think Teng made a little bit of mistake there as he exited Melgoro. This is Shark, his newfound position, P2, and is coming under quite a lot of pressure from Van Drehan, who is in 3rd. You just have a look at how close these two drivers are.
As we see, Fenrihan right now has the DRS, has the slipstream. Will he be able to get the run into the retro poster straight? As you see, Gordon Cook right now, a little bit slidey going into the first few corners. Where talking about the battle just now, it looks like Shaq was able to keep his P2. So that's really good. But it looks like Gordon Cook is actually lagging quite a bit right now. So that's going to be a little bit of a problem for the other drivers.
Yeah, I think with multiplayer racing, internet connections are always very important if you want the best standards of racing. Tariq in the pits, perhaps for damage. You can see that his steering is just bent and completely unskewed.
Doesn't look like his steering is actually pointing straight there, so might have had a lot of suspension damage, possibly tangled with someone else and crashed into the barriers. You see right now Hamsterville 1.1 seconds behind Benjamin Teng. Hamsterville right now in P17. Previous lap was a 1 minute 26.5. Is right on board with Phil Hudson right now. Previous lap was a 1 minute 26.1, so it's pretty good as we see Adi Pratama finally leaving the pits again.
He is in 22nd at this point. Of course, this race still has 10 laps to go. It is a total of 17 laps here at Interlagos for this race. He comes out behind in the midst of some cars. This is going to be a little bit shaky because just behind them are the race leaders. He will have to be careful as he would probably be blue flag in a moment. Shark coming under a lot of pressure from Fendrehan. Is he going to think of a move along the inside?
And that was really good defending from Shaq here, going into turn 3. He covered the inside line so that Fenrehan couldn't get the move then where he wanted to. So that makes so that allows Shaq to keep his second place ahead of Fenrehan. But while all of that is happening, Ataya Kenzie is just building his gap to the second and third place cars. And judging by the live timing right now, there's been a few messages that a few drivers have cut the track. So that might result in a penalty or maybe just a warning to the drivers, one of them Christian Ho. So the drivers have to be wary if they cut the track. They are going to be penalized for it as we are back on board with Ilhamu Karim Shak right now on the main straight. Doesn't look like Fenrehan can attack him into turn 1. Big lock up into turn 1. That's going to compromise him a little bit. That's going to give Fenrehan a really good rundown onto the retro Posta straight. Fenrehan is gonna have DRS, gonna have slipstream. It's gonna be an easy move for him. As they go side by side into retro Posta. Are they gonna make contact? Oh, one of the cars. It's not visible on the stream, but I am seeing on the live timing right now that Fenrehan has actually spun off while he was trying to overtake Shaq. So that makes the grid a little bit more spread out. Right now, Ataya Kenzie is in first. Shaq still remains in second. Chua Sing Han has been promoted up to third because of that little skirmish between Fenrehan and Shaq. Oh, there's a car off track here, Muhammad Andrea Bereski. That looks like it's on the exit of turn 3, sorry. So where we saw Max Verstappen in Formula 1. Oh, he spun again, trying to get back out on track. Definitely not a good weekend here for Muhammad Andrea Bereski, as he's down in 19th place, basically at the bottom of the grid right now. Definitely not a good start to the race for him.
Yeah, certainly not. Of course, this track isn't exactly the widest. It is easy to leave the track boundaries if you do get your car pointing the wrong way around the track. Adisa Putra in 18th, and he is in quite a clear area at this point. We go back to the battle up here for P2. This is a very tight battle that has been ensuing for a good half of the race already. They are, although they are 5 seconds behind the race leader, they are having a good battle for second. Defensive line does shark through Reta Oposta Strait as they go into the Sinatulago.
As we see right now, Joshua getting ahead of Uhang here thanks to the DRS on the main straight here. But if I'm not mistaken, Uhang will actually get the DRS onto the Rector of Posta, so Joshua might have to defend a bit. Don't think he's going to be able to defend quite a lot here against Uhang. It'll be interesting to see who's going to come out on top. Joshua taking a little bit more defensive line, covers off the inside line. The camera switches now to Fenner Rehan. It's a three-way fight for P4. In P4, we have Christian Ho in the Sauber Junior team right behind. Oh, Joshua has spun. And as we were talking about how he had to defend going into turn 4, he has spun. So that's going to put him down into 16th place. And that's definitely... Oh, there's another car that's stopped on track as well. It looks like it was Zhu Hang. So the two guys that were battling for P12, if I'm not mistaken, have gone down the order. So it looks like they might have made contact.
Yeah, no, exactly. Nice to kind of re-enter the track. It's always a difficult decision to make. Oh, another driver has gone around. This is Henry Cole. Of course, he is he currently sits in 21st, and he is under quite a lot of lapping traffic that is coming upon him.
That's right. As we see, there's quite a bit of a battle here. There's another car that's off track at turn 1 actually, which is actually JV, if I'm not mistaken. Right now JV is in P6. Sorry, it was Muhammad Faiz Ryan that spun. So that puts Javier into P6 ahead of Muhammad Faiz Ryan. As they see him going into turn 4 right now, the corner where he actually got hit by another car. So that put him down the order. As I think we saw Chua Sing Han struggling a little bit there. It looks like he might have spun the car around. And yes, he has. He's down into P4 now, losing quite a bit of places. And it looks like he's being attacked by Fen Rehan. Yes, he is. He's dropped down to P5. So it looks like on the entry of turn 6, he's actually lost the rear end of the car. So that's definitely not good for him. As you see another car that's going off track. It looks like it's a white car of Benjamin Tegner. He's right on board with Kevin right now in the Gamasala Racing team, up in 13th place.
Great to see Kevin fighting in 13th, although he is coming under a little bit of pressure from the drivers just the distance behind him. Joshua has gone down to 18th.
There's a car off track.
Amsterville is around.
That's not the first time I've seen him off the track right now. And it looks like that was in Sector 2, or at least the end of Sector 2, as he goes around Pico de Pato now into Magulo. And he's in quite a lonely 15th place. He's got about a 6-second gap to the car behind, and about a 5-second gap to the car ahead. He's right on board with Christian Ho right now, promoted up into the podium positions. And there's a car that's in the barriers. It's the white car of Rian Adisaputra, and that's gonna give him quite a lot of damage. He's going down the order. He might have to come into the pits to repair as he comes back onto the track, almost in the path of another car, the car of Noah Sidak in 19th place there. He might have Rian Adisaputra might have to come into the pits and make some repairs because it looks like it was quite a heavy impact with the wall.
Christian Ho sits in 3rd. Of course, at this point, I think the top 3 cars have already spaced out as opposed to the battle that had taken place just earlier on in the race. Because he is having a good time at this point here, end of the grid, whereas Chua Sing Han is coming under quite a lot of pressure from what might appear to be Kok behind him.
Christian Ho right now in a really strong 3rd place. He's got about a 3.5 second gap to the car behind. So it looks like the podium is pretty much secure for him if he can hold on for the next 6 laps.
Of course, Interlagos is full of surprises. This is Phil Hudson, and he is going for P10. This would be the fight for P10 as they come upon this high-speed section. Slipstream, making good use of Slipstream. Of course, this is ever so important. Interlagos, of course, for combat went for the defensive, conservative inside line, but Hudson takes it along the outside and he nails this move for P10 through turn 1.
Yeah, but it looks like Bob Combat is actually fighting back for it immediately. He's got the slipstream and he's gonna have the DRS onto Retro Aposta straight. But the camera switches back to Enrico, so we're not gonna be able to see much of that battle, unfortunately. Oh, Henrico has actually spun off, so that means the battle. Oh, they've hit him. Like I said, Henrico, he spun at the corner where those cars that were battling were about to approach. So him re-entering the track, I think he was a little bit unsighted as well by Bob Combat and the other cars that he was battling with. As they enter the corner, suddenly there's a car on the apex, and there's nothing they could have done to avoid.
Yeah, with the kind of visibility you get at a place like Interlagos, it is difficult to kind of preempt any moves that you might have to make.
There's a car that's spinning
Wuhan
off.
goes out!
Wuhan has actually spun there on the entry of turn 6. I think that's where we saw Chua Sing Han spinning as well. Chua Sing Han right now in 6th place. He lost quite a bit of positions there as Yuhao still struggling with the back end of the car. I think after that spin, the rear tires just overheated up massively, and there's another car off track. Henrico off the track again. The last time he went off track, he actually caused an accident, so that's right now he's having quite a lot of trouble trying to keep the car on track.
It's always a challenge to keep on top of your car all race long. We are at lap 13, 4 laps to go at this point, and Kenzie is still a race leader. Benjamin Teng goes in to the pits, or rather he exits the pits and he returns hopefully to the track at P15.
Kenzie looks like he has a really commanding lead over Shaq right now. 2.9 seconds is the gap between first and second place. It's right on board with Shaq right now. Right ahead of me is the leader. As you can see right now, we're riding with Shaq in P2. 2.9 second gap between him and Ataya Kenzie. Ataya Kenzie right now, fastest lap, 1 minute 23.3. Fastest lap of the race is, however, held by Shaq with a 1 minute 22.7. So it looks like in the race. Oh, there's another car that's gone off track. It's the car of Kevin. And that's unfortunate for him as we ride on board with Hamsterville right now, going through Pico de Pato onto Magulo here. Kevin has actually gone back to the pits following his previous off-track adventures. He's currently in P17 as he leaves the pit, ahead of P19, sorry, ahead of Adi Saputra. Or should I say P20, right behind Adi Saputra here. It'll be interesting to see if Kevin will be able to challenge Adi Saputra, but the camera switches now to Noah Sidek in 18th place, less than a second behind his next challenger, which is Wuhang. So it looks like Noah might be able to tuck him behind for the slipstream, but he might be too far back. But he is within 1 second, so he should be able to deploy his DRS.
Yeah, DRS very much a big part of the game with this Formula 3 cars, of course taking the technology from the higher level open wheelers. This is Joshua Tan. He is trying to fend off his position. He took it along the inside, but we've missed that action as we come to observe Phil. So he is in 10th and he is trying to go for 9th, just taken up by Mark. But more concerning for him is Don Doka in 11th, who is up for his position.
A really interesting looking car here from Phil Hudson. Really combination of colors that we don't see on other cars in this grid. But as you see, Kevin is actually in a battle with Irfan Adi Pratama right now as they head onto the main straight. Or actually, I'm not pretty sure who that was because I can't really see the liveries from here, so my mistake there. As they head into turn 1. That was actually the P9, so that was Mark Land. My mistake there, they weren't actually battling. As you see right now, Benjamin Tang only less than a second behind the car ahead, but right now behind him is Omar Adri Aliski attacking him with slipstream with DRS. He's gonna take the outside line onto the main straight here as he goes. There's another car off track. Chua Sing Han has spun off at the exact same corner where he spun off a few laps ago. So very unfortunate for him. He's lost more positions. Just as it looks like he was gaining the ground that he lost, he's actually lost more of it right now. So that's really unfortunate for him. So right on board with Phil Hudson right now, just ahead of Dondoka in P11. So Phil Hudson right now has to make sure the gap is over a second so that the car behind him doesn't have DRS.
Of course, this is Pratama in 19th. Of course, internet is always important. Otherwise, you would see a little bit of an awkward visualization of the car, the kind of trajectory that car was taking. Noah Sidek has gone up to P17. Of course, great driving by him all race long, and uh, he is quite a distance away from 16th. Taken by Benjamin Teng, but he is ahead of Adi Sapu, who is just under 6 seconds behind him.
Yeah, and it looks like the gap between the two leaders has actually gone down right now. Ataya Kenzie is only 2.2 seconds ahead of Shaq. Shaq, who has the fastest lap of the race, and it looks like he is faster each lap in this race compared to Ataya Kenzie, but I don't know if he's going to be able to close up the gap quickly enough to be able to take the race lead. There is only 2 laps to go. You see, Rian Adisaputra has actually gone off the track twice here, so he's going to let the leaders go past first. But yeah, definitely not having a good time in the car right now. It looks like a lot of drivers are actually struggling to keep their car keep their car on track. Speaking of keeping their car on track, David Lai right now is currently in 6th place. So it looks like Chua Sing Han is, well, for me, it looks like he's dropped down to P7. I'm pretty sure I saw him in P6, but Xavier has actually managed to get ahead of Chua Sing Han, and that's going to help his championship cause because he is right now behind Chua Sing Han by only about 5 points in the championship. So being able to outscore him will definitely help his championship. But one thing that won't help Xavier's championship cause is the fact that Ataya Kenzie looks set on winning the race right now as we enter the final lap. Meanwhile, his Ataya Kenzie's only 2 championship rivals are down in 6th and 7th.
We are at the final lap of race 1. This is crunch time for all the drivers, more so for the drivers in 3rd and 4th, as both of them are contending for the final podium position. Joshua Tan in 16th, because he had just lost a position to Benjamin Teng due to that little bit of a mistake.
And it looks like right now Ataya Kenzie is actually going through the last few corners here. He's facing a back marker, which is Noah Sidek. But Ataya Kenzie does look like he's about to win as it goes as it goes onto the main straight right now, crosses the line. It is P1 for the 12-year-old from Indonesia racing for Rotary Esports. Right behind him is Ilhamul Karim Shak. Only 2.4 seconds separate the two winners here today. Christian Ho, a brilliant drive for him to finish P3 for Sauber Junior Racing Team. In P4 is Fenner Rehan. Really strong drive from him as well, also from the Rotary Esports team. So it is a P1 and P4. Really strong result for the Rotary Esports team here today. In Gamasala Racing Esports, right now we have P5 over the line for Muhammad Faiz Ryan. And it looks like Xavier Lai is facing a lot of pressure from Chua Sing Han as they go onto the main straight. This is going to be a drag race onto the line. Is he going to be able to take him here? No, Xavier Lai manages to cross the line with only a matter of milliseconds ahead of Chua Sing Han here for 6th place. Really interesting battle right to the end of the line.
So the rest of the drivers for combat in 11th, he leads Phil Hudson. So of course, with this high-speed section, they could well take, or rather Hudson could well take that position. He does not do so. But combat comes from 11th. Hudson, a good celebratory spin there. Yeah, exactly. He comes up in 12th and Hamster in 13th. Andrea Abireski in 14th, and Benjamin Ting will come home in 15th. Joshua Tan in 16th, and Noah Sidek, who is quite a fair ways back, he comes home in 17th.
Really strong drive from Ataya Kenzie here today, claiming full points in race 1. And well, he has the biggest advantage right now because he finished about 5 places ahead of 5 and 6 places ahead of his next championship rival. So Chua Sing Han and Xavier Lai, who are hoping to actually take the fight to Ataya Kenzie in these few races, they haven't been able to do so. Ataya Kenzie looks like he was in a really dominant race and extends his championship gap even further.
Drivers will, at this point, they will begin preparing themselves for race 2. Of course, it is on the same track, and it will take place in just a moment's time. So stay with us.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the countdown has begun. We have about 50 seconds or maybe even more until the start of the second race. Second race will actually be a reverse grid. We will take the results from race 1 here and reverse them. So Ataya Kenzie, who has won the race, will actually start at the very, very back of the grid, which means his championship contenders, Javier Lai and Chua Sing Han, might have a little bit of an advantage, but only if they can make good use of it.
So I think it was quite an eventful race one. We'd like to also welcome Amir into the commentary booth. I think you have been observing this race alongside Mika and myself. I think it does go to show that Interlagos does offer its challenges. Partly due to its unique elevation changes and also the layout of the circuit. Drivers are beginning to grid.
Yep. And due to the nature of the circuit where overtaking is a possibility thanks to DRS, but at the same time, since there's plenty of long straights, there's plenty of time for drivers to catch the draft and overtake coming into any of the corners like the Curva de Sena or in the last corner, actually, Jun Sao. We've seen some overtaking there in real life and in the sim just now.
Jun Sao, if I'm not mistaken as well, is the place where Hamilton actually overtook Timo Glock in 2008 for the championship on the very, very last lap.
Well, for any of the Scuderia fans that hear that might be a bit painful to remember, but yes, that is the exact corner where the championship changed hands in 36 seconds.
Yep. And as the lights are ready to be illuminated for the start of the second race, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, 6 lights ahead of the drivers here in Interlagos for race 2. It's lights out and away we go. It looks like it's a really, really commanding start for the pole sitter here. And as you see the camera right now on Bout Combat looking to make a few paces, it looks like everybody's able to behave into turn 1. There's not many contact. There are a few cars off the track right now, but not as much contact as we had in race 1. Really, really good disciplined driving from all of the drivers here right now. Tariq leading the pack here right now. In second place is Henry Ko. There's a lot of position changing going on in the midfield. There's quite a big gap between the front runners and the midfield, so there might have been collision behind that we didn't see.
Or someone has actually retired from the race. Actually, is Wu Hang. I think he got clouted big time in the kerfuffle between the midfield. He's actually out of the race, unless that is just a timing error, or he could have disconnected. But whatever it is, Wu Hang's out of the race.
But the highlight so far is definitely Javier Lai because he started 6 places from the bottom, and right now he's up into P8. So that's a really, really strong drive from him, taking advantage of the situation completely.
17 to 8. That was a makeup of 9 positions. That's amazing.
And we're only a few corners into the race. That is right now he's up into P7. He's made another move on Hamsterville to go up into P7 here, Javier. So that's a really, really commanding drive from him. As you see, his driving right now in P7. He might be able to attack Noah Sidek. Of course, for the first 2 laps, they won't have DRS, but there is quite a bit of gap between Noah Sidek and the cars ahead of him. So once Javier clears Noah Sidek for P6, he's going to be able to he's going to have to make up quite a lot of ground to catch up to those leading 5 cars that we see right now. Joshua having to go defensive from 2 cars behind him. Right now is Ken Fenrehan, make a move around the outside into turn 1. That is a brilliant move from Fenrehan to go up into P9. Joshua almost helpless there. As right now he's facing another attack from Garden Coke, who has this slipstream, and he's gonna have to take a defensive line. These cars go 3 wide down the Retro Aposta straight. Dondoka here, Marv Dondokambi. Oh, they've made contact. He's hit both cars, left and right. Definitely not what he wanted to do. So as we see Joshua right now going off the track as well. So not definitely so much action going on down the Retro Aposta straight and into the next braking zone. Oh, and
we got
him! Just as he's recovering, he is hit again.
Unbelievable scenes here right now in the second race, and as we've seen in the last run as well, second race has always provided quite a bit of action for these drivers.
Very much so. Oh, around goes Kevin.
Has spun from 4th place, and that's gonna send him right down the order. That's not gonna be good for him at all. He was in a really, really strong 4th place, and he's actually spun it trying to get back on the grid as well. Definitely not gonna help his cause at all. What do you guys think of that?
Well, actually, because he fired up the tires immediately after he spun, it's overheated. So the moment he stamped on the loud pedal, he's just gonna stand like that.
He spun.
Oh, just as
Tarek
said.
is spun on the
Yeah.
exit of turn 2, and he was really close to fighting with Adi for the lead as well. He was right up the gearbox of the leader, and now he spun it out. Definitely such a big loss there.
I just said, well, another driver is spinning his tires, then suddenly another guy who's out in front spun as well. So overheating might be a problem here on the circuit.
Oh, the two leaders are fighting right now, of course. Oh, they can't go side by side there, can they? Of course, Andrea Bereski had to back out. The two Rotary Esports cars are leading the race right now. But it looks like, the leader's actually gone a little bit wide, so that means Andrea Bereski might be able to challenge Andrei Pasabutra for the lead here.
He has overtaken him. It's like a bit of team orders there. I think he just let him by too quickly.
Yeah, so Andre going wide there. Sorry. There's another car going off track. Henry Ko has actually spun from P3 here. That puts Noah Sidek up into P3. Javier Lai up into P4 and Fenor Rehan up into P5. And he's being attacked on the inside into Jun Sao. And it looks like Tariq has actually got the better of him. So Tariq, who lost quite a bit of places, dropped down from P2 as Henry right now even facing an attack from another car. I can't quite see who that is, but it looks like it's a three-way fight right now. One of the cars looks like it might be entering the pits, or is that just a defensive line taken? No, they're actually entering the pits right now. So as you see, Shaq right now in 8th place. He did actually get 2nd place in the first round, so that's quite a lot of places that he's been able to make up. And I was right, Tariq right now, he's entered the pit lane. I wonder if he's serving a penalty or if he's had to change his tires.
Judging by the look of it, that is definitely a penalty that's been dished out. We didn't see any from the messages in the live timing, but there you go. In and out, a drive-through, but that's cost him plenty of time.
Yep, definitely. You see Noah Sidek right now in a very, very strong 3rd place. All he's got to do right now is hold up 2 charging cars right behind him. Javier Lai and Fenor Rehan ready to pounce on Noah if Noah makes a mistake. As Javier goes down the inside, will he be able to make the move stick? Noah has the upper hand right now. He has the higher ground. He has the inside line going to Pinarino. And it looks like it is still side by side as they go into Pico de Pato. Will Javier be able to outbrake Noah Sidek? Noah Sidek tries to outbrake Javier. Instead, they still go side by side, wheel to wheel into Magulo. And it looks like Javier has the move done around the outside of Magulo here. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to make the move done as Noah actually overtakes Javier back going into Jun Sao. And that inside line has definitely helped Noah Sidek as Hamsterville goes off the track here. Definitely not going to help his cause at all. Drops from P14 down into P18.
Well, plenty of happening there in between the battles of out in front and at the back. But Xavier probably has gotten the move done. No, he hasn't. He just crossed the line and said lap time. But he should have the DRS by the next set. Being
attacked left and right here. Sorry to interrupt you there, but Garden Cook absolutely powerless without the DRS on the straight there. He got attacked down this inside and the outside. He's being attacked on his right hand side here as well, going into turn 3. Even pushed onto the curb. That's gonna put him on the back foot a little bit here. As you see, the cars ahead are battling a little bit. We ride on board with Javier Lai right now in 4th place, 1 second behind Noah Sidek. He's gonna need to close up the gap if he wants to be able to take the DRS in the next few zones.
Only a second behind, and he was a second behind last time round. Looks like he didn't get moved done. Whatever nuance he did, he definitely defended well. But right now, he's being under attack by 2 rotary cars and a Gamasala to boot. As Shaq goes onto the inside, can he make it move on? His move stick on Kenzie? No, not this time. Kenzie holds firm, but Shaq's got to go to the inside at Pico de Pato, and he gets it. So Shaq's up to 6. Kenzie dropped to 7, and we got a 5-way scrap here for 3rd.
Brilliant driving from Shaq here. And that he is holding off the championship leader there, so that is really, really good defensive skills. As we see Noah Sidek making a mistake, Xavier Lai immediately pouncing on it as they go onto the main straight. And now it's almost 3 wide as they're gonna go down the main straight. So there's a car that's off the track, and we don't get to see the battle that we were seeing just now.
Such a shame, really. We've had the camera switching quite a few times at the most inopportune moments, but luckily we have the live timing to keep us occupied to see what any position changes happen. But something happened to Xavier actually. Xavier dropped 6. There we go.
Yep, it's a 4-way fight now as they enter the Retro Posta straight. There's almost 1 line here, but apparently the computer thinks it's more interesting to see 1 car spinning off rather than 4 cars battling. It's really annoying.
This means that Lai has moved up to 4th and Kenzie up to 5th. It would appear that Noah Sidek has begun to lose some positions hand over fist. We are still on board.
Oh,
we have come to
Oh, he's gonna be collected as well by the Sauber Junior car.
Oh.
Yes, he is. That is a big collision going on at turn 4, I believe. And that's Shaq spinning and him, well, obviously being unsighted by the other drivers. He's been collected by the Sauber Junior car.
And right at the center of the lago as well. That is the worst place to spin because it's such a blind corner when you descend through it. If you see another car, it's normally too late. And Shaq has been collected by pretty much a couple of drivers there. And any chance of him scoring points might just end right there.
Oh, Henrico, very, very big understeer moment there. That promotes Hamsterville up into P15. We are on lap 7 of the race right now as we ride on board with Christian Ho. I think he might actually be the car that actually collected collected one of the cars that spun out at the speed of the Lago though.
Yeah, that's the only Sauber car on the field, I think, because the Sauber car is so pronounced. It's white, blue, and red on. It looks pretty much like last year's Sauber in F2, so let's put it that.
Well, Phil Hudson has managed to move up a place, I believe. But as we ride on board with Phil Hudson now going into turn 1, it looks like Christian Ho has had to pit, so that collision definitely was too much for him to handle. Of course, his front end damage. Some drivers will probably go on with the damage, but I think the damage was too severe for Christian Ho to continue.
And we have another retirement, and that's Keeban. He's actually now one of the 2 retirements in this race. We're going to have more if more collisions happen, but so far, 21 of the drivers are still running.
This might be an interesting battle. Christian Ho leaving the pits. Joshua Tan right outside there. Will he be able to come out ahead of Joshua there? We won't be able to see it, unfortunately.
Shaq's in the pits, so...
Noah's on the track.
Oh. Well, he probably lost out to 1 or 2 positions up. He's dropped to 9th. He's right behind Bang 10. He's in the wars even from the start. He had a 5-way battle here on lap 6, but now he's way at the back in the tail end of the top 10.
Oh, JV right now facing an attack from Ataya Kenzie here. The 2 championship contenders is switch over to Bob Combat here, spinning out in P18.
Well, nothing much to see there. 20th place, and he's not going to lose anymore considering the fact that Shaq's in the pits.
Yeah, and from that battle, I believe Ataya Kenzie has actually managed to get ahead of Javier there. So, Javier, with hopes of outscoring Ataya in order to help the championship cause, definitely not coming to life here. But he is really, really close to Ataya, almost hitting the back of the of the Rotary Esports car there.
And the fact that Chua Jing Han is actually struggling this particular round means that Xavier will collect more points out of him, and he'll definitely be in the firm running to be in second behind Ataya.
Yep, but Ataya right now has the upper hand on both of them because Ataya is leading the championship. He even won race 1, while Javier and Singhan have only managed to finish 6th and 7th. So he collected quite a lot of points, and it looks like he's gonna outscore both of them again in second race.
Now, unless Xavier has anything to do about it, he's got the DRS last time. He'll make the move stay because Ataya was just that further ahead. But we might see a race-long battle between these 2.
Yep, you're right about that. As you see Phil Hudson right now, gonna have to defend against Benjamin Teng here for P7. It looks like Adi Pratama has actually set the new fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 23.6. No, that was Fenner Rehan, sorry.
Yep.
Chua Singhan right now in 12th place. If I'm not mistaken, he is outside of the point scoring position, so he has to get the move on right now in order to get some points to help his championship cause. But I don't think Javier has actually managed to stay within 1 second to get the DRS from Ataya Kenzie there. So if it stays like that, Javier might have quite a hard time to try and get up to P4. You see right now, Henrico exiting turn 3, having to defend a little bit from Garden Coke. Garden Coke does have the DRS now. Again, the camera switches away from the action.
It's quite unfortunate we can't see the end of that. But speaking about Xavier's situation, he's got quite a tall order because we got...
Oh, they've been contact!
Yeah, there we go. We cut back at the time when the incident does happen. Shaq... no, that's not Shaq. That's Faiz Ryan, right behind Enrico. And the third car was involved there. I think that was Garden Cox. So all 3 of them might have had a collision together.
Yep, I think so as well. As Henrico right now having to defend quite a lot against Faiz Ryan. Here, Faiz Ryan will want to stay really, really close up his gearbox to be able to challenge in the next few corners. Will he be able to make a move down to Pico de Pato? I think he's a bit too far back. But it does look like he's a lot harder on the brakes, able to brake much later than Henry.
Yep. But he's just within that DRS range. So,
Oh, there's the other car that's gone off the track. It's Marv. Marv has gone off the track, and he's gonna lose quite a bit of paces because of that. Chossi kind of moves up to P11 at the expense of Marv.
Oh, look at that. That's the battle between the two drivers that we were talking about earlier.
It looks like Faiz Ryan has actually got the DRS and slipstream onto Henry Cole, but Henry sticks to the racing line. Will Faiz Ryan be able to make a move down the inside into turn 1? We don't get to see it again, but it looks like Faiz Ryan.
Yeah, and the fact that he went off too. He actually went off to avoid being overtaken. So a lot of things happened there between as VN going to circuit.
Yep. As I think that's Garden Cook ahead of VN right now. I can't quite see it.
Oh, that's Noisy just going through the camera, and he saved it. Luckily, at well, we can't remember which corner is called there.
Yeah, but he's now under attack from Chua Singhan. Singhan, of course, on the charge right now to be able to salvage some points from his pretty appalling race. And he's right up the gearbox of Noah Sidak right now as they enter Magulo. Oh, it looks like he's gonna make a move into Magulo, but that was just the camera angle there as they go up into Jinsao. Now, this will be interesting to watch because Chua Singhan will actually get a really good slipstream and DRS onto the main straight. It's really long run here before they reach the braking zone. DRS available for Chua Singhan right now. Will he be able to close up? He's got the DRS wing wide open. Will he go left or right? He goes right around the outside, maybe into turn 1. And he's gonna brake later than Noah Sidak. Will he be able to make the move stick there? Wheel to wheel, side by side, going into turn 1 and turn 2. And it looks like Chua Singhan was not able to actually overtake Noah Sidak. Brilliant defensive maneuver there from Noah Sidak to stay in 9th place. But of course, Chua Singhan will have the DRS to attack him into Retro Posta as well.
And it was a smart move to go around the outside as well because he got the inside line for turn 2. Unfortunately, he just couldn't go up any further than his just rear right wheel.
Oh, big impact there. It looks like that's on the exit of turn 1. Bob Combat going back to the pits immediately because of that.
Yep. But then also they managed to avoid going back to that battle between Chua Singhan and Noah Sidak. They avoided having a Verstappen and Ocon moment come into the second turn. So they're still in the race, luckily. But it goes to show that even with the amount of slipstream you got with the DRS, overtaking is still quite a challenge, but it is possible.
Yeah, it is, and looks like it's a little bit wide. That's gonna hand P9 straight to Chua Singhan here. So no more RG battles between the two of them. Noah has made a mistake, and that's easy P9 for Chua Singhan.
Game over there. No much for us to talk about there. It's just a simple mistake by Noah, leaving a lot of room for Chua Singhan to come through.
The field looks quite spread out right now. Muhammad Andri Abireski in a really commanding lead of 8 seconds. As you see in the background there's actually a few cars battling. It's actually the Sauber of Christian Ho and Marv, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is the Sauber. Oh, they go wheel to wheel. They bang wheels into turn 1, into turn 2. And Christian Ho, his luck with white cars are really bad in race 2. As the second time he's collected a car in sector 1.
Yeah, he might have turned white for a second there, seeing another car right in front of him. But luckily, he managed to outwit both of them there and claim 15th at least.
Hopefully the damage isn't too severe because as we saw when he collected a car into turn 4 here, he had to box and repair his front wing. So hopefully he doesn't have to do it this time around. As you see Joshua under attack from Adi Saputra. Will Adi be able to make the move around the outside? Surely not. He's not going to be able to make that stick. Oh, they're almost banging wheels as Adi is pushed off the track a little bit there. Josh, they make contact again just before Pinarino. Oh, and there's another wheel-to-wheel battle going on with Henrico and Garden Cook here. Henry, a little bit ambitious to go down the inside into Magulo there. But if he stays a little bit patient, he will get the DRS and slipstream. But it's a mistake from Garden Cook there. That's going to be an easy overtake for Henry. But it looks like it's going to be a drag race onto the main straight now. It looks like Henry has actually been able to get ahead of Garden Cook. But Garden Cook now will be able to tuck in behind for the slipstream. Maybe even DRS as we switch over to Joshua here. He's doing absolutely nothing. So I have no idea why the camera switched to him here.
And then we have Bob Combat, who was in the wall at turn 1 just now. He retired from the race, so that makes it 3 retirements.
Yep, and Garden Cook has actually managed to move up to P13. He's overtaken Henry Ko.
Or was it the other way around, I think?
No, Gardencourt has actually got ahead of Henrico here. And Henrico in the number 69 car, right behind Gardencourt, not able to attack going into this corner.
And look at behind there, Christian Ho is coming out quick. So this might be a true battle if Cot loses a bit of ground. Sorry, if To keeps up with Gardencourt.
Oh, this is another interesting battle. Chua Sing Han might be having a look into Pico de Pato here. He thinks better of it. He's right behind Phil Hudson here, and behind him there's a train of cars as they enter Magulo here. This is the battle for 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. This is going to be an interesting battle. I think all of them but Phil Hudson will have DRS. Phil Hudson makes a little bit of a mistake exiting Jun Sao here. It's going to be an easy overtake for Chua Sing Han, or maybe Phil Hudson was just letting Chua Sing Han pass so that Phil Hudson could get DRS himself and the slipstream.
No, I don't think so. I think because he won't get DRS. They just look at it. Boom, that clashes in the pits.
That is very unusual.
And will he retire now because his car's completely stopped here? That's probably terminal damage.
Yeah, probably. As you see, Hamsterville attacking Faiz Ryan. Yeah, very, very close racing between the two of them. Hamsterville will actually get DRS onto the Retroposta straight here. So, but will he be able to close up enough? It doesn't look like he has DRS actually. I saw the gap, it was less than a second, but apparently he doesn't have DRS.
Nope, not quite yet.
So, about 4 laps remaining in this race. Phil Hudson right now in P9. If we take a look at the leaders right now, it's a really, really dominant race for Andrea Bireski here. 10 seconds ahead of his teammate. And, well, it looks like it's a Gamasala 1-2. And the man that used to race for Gamasala, Ataya Kenzie, is in 3rd place.
Yep. Because if we say it's an Indonesian Armada, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4 for Indonesia, with Xavier being the rest of the rest for Singapore in 5th.
So you can see the Indonesians aren't messing around here, as we see Christian Ho actually right up the gearbox of Gardencourt here. He might be able to launch an attack going into the turn 1. He will have slipstream and DRS here. No mistake from Gardencourt. So Christian Ho will be able to tuck in for the slipstream. I think he might even get him before the DRS detection zone here. So the camera switches again to Phil Hudson in a battle with Benjamin Teng. I think Benjamin Teng will be able to get the DRS and slipstream as we enter the Retroposta straight here. Will Phil Hudson be able to defend well against Benjamin Teng, or will Benjamin Teng actually make the move as he heads down the inside of Phil Hudson into turn 4? Will they make contact? They won't. It's very clean racing between the two of them, and that's a good move from Benjamin Teng. But Phil Hudson gets a better run out of turn 4 as we head into turn 6 right now. It looks like Phil Hudson is comfortably ahead of Benjamin Teng, and he keeps 8th place.
Yeah, and again, he got around the outside because he just got momentum. That's what happens when you try to overtake at the Interlagos. There's 2 lines coming into there. And
Hamsterville is spun off, and that looks like it's actually on the entry of turn 7, I believe.
Well, turn 8, that's before Bigo de Pato. Anyway, yeah, because there's 2 lines coming to the Interlagos. The line on the outside just has more momentum, so he has the advantage coming into the next corner, into the inside.
Yep, Phil Hudson having to defend against Benjamin Teng again here. I'm not sure if Benjamin Teng is close enough for the DRS. I think he is. So Benjamin Teng will be able to launch another attack going into turn 1 here. DRS wide open for Benjamin Teng onto the main straight here. There's another car that spun off. 2 cars that spun off.
So it's
almost in synchronization. These 2 cars are spinning off.
A bit of a tandem. Yeah, a bit of a tandem pirouette. And there goes the leader. That looks like Andre. I hope Kenzie's not coming out fast because these 2 are still recovering.
Yeah. Oh, Kenzie's actually up into P2 now.
And someone's coming to visit Enrico.
Yeah. Ataya Kenzie taking basically full control of the championship right now after winning race 1 and getting a really strong P2. By the looks of it, he's going to get a really strong P2.
Yeah, definitely. It's the best weekend he could ever wish for.
Oh, speaking about the battle for 8th place, we have Noah Sidak right now joining the party. It's a 3-way fight. Actually, there's another car behind him, Muhammad Faiz Ryan. It's a 4-way fight for 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th here. As you see Noah Sidak darting around the track, trying to get as close as possible to Benjamin Teng. But at the same time, the car behind him, Muhammad Faiz Ryan in the Gamasala Esports car, is attacking him even more. Henry Cole right now facing another attack from Tariq. There's action all over the place. Oh, actually, that's not Tariq. That's one of the leaders trying to get past here. Definitely not making it easy here, Henry.
I think
Ignoring a
that,
few blue flags.
yeah, I think that's well, that wasn't Shag. I thought that was a Gamasala. That was a Gamasala car. Actually, it's a rotary sports car.
It's definitely Kenzie, isn't it?
Not sure. He's not moving out of the way. He is moving out of the way now. But whoever that was behind, he's lost a lot of time.
Noah Sedak has actually went up to P9 here. He's right behind Phil Hudson. This will be interesting to see because as you see right now, Noah Sedak, Benjamin Tang, and Faiz Ryan, all three of them will be able to have DRS onto the Retro Pasta straight. Noah Sedak alongside with Phil Hudson here right now as they enter the braking zone off turn 4. He gets the move done before the braking zone at the same time. Benjamin Tang around the outside of the Mosquito de Lago. They make a little bit of contact and Benjamin Tang is actually forced off the track due to that contact there.
Yep.
And I believe Muhammad Andri Abireski right now crosses the line. He wins 10 seconds ahead of the Rotary Esports car of Ataya Kenzie in second place. Ataya Kenzie definitely claiming the most points out of the top 3 championship leaders right now. The championship is his to lose right now.
And Rotary 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, I think.
Yeah, JV Lai, after an incident in race 1, had to he was dropped down the grid quite a lot. And that caused him to only finish P6 in race 1, and his second race was only 1 position better. He finished P5 today as we see Mark Lange crossing the line in P6.
Yep. And the rotary car stopped there. There's the rest of the field. This is the 4-way battle for 8. And it was like Nuwan Siri got the better of Phil Hudson. He finishes 8. Hudson 9, Viceroy 10, and Bang 10, who's just right behind it in 11.
Yeah, so Ataya Kenzie definitely scoring the most points out of the top 3 championship leaders here. So Ataya Kenzie finishing second today. JV Lai only managed 5th place, and Chua Sing Han only managing 7th. So Sing Han also only managed 7th in race 1 as well. So Ataya Kenzie definitely claiming, well, basically almost the most amount of points he could in this race, as we see Joshua Tan after the race actually exploring the track limits here a little bit.
Actually, that's the old layout of the circuit where there used to be quite a big oval coming around. So he wanted to explore the rest of the circuit, but unfortunately, a bit more might just stop him there. But anyhow, yeah, Kenzie definitely has gotten the rub of the green of this particular round, and in fact, he got the rub of the green the last round. He extends, and by all accounts, he's looking pretty good for the championship.
Yep. He is taking a commanding lead in the championship right now. So it's been a really solid drive from him throughout the season anyway. So he deserves the lead that he has right now. But of course, it takes a lot of consistency to maintain that lead.
Yep, definitely.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for round 5 of Sim Races Asia. Circuit in Interlagos today. Joining me was Amir Hazik and Chan Wei Han. Thank you guys for commentating alongside me.
Pleasure. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for having me on.
All right, see all of you next time for round 6. Goodbye.